I want to welcome the 60 plus of you that are joining us this morning. I want to thank Aaron for making this happen as well on his second full week at Triplement. I know, crazy, right? It's like a year.
Oh my God, yes. But I want to thank everyone too. You could be doing a lot of things for the first day of reopening, and I'm very grateful for all of you that have taken time out, whether it's 5 minutes or the whole session, to hear how it failed forward. So let's do it.
Let's do it. I always say provide value, make these next 27 minutes very worthwhile. So first question for Mr. Seawood. What do you love most about real estate?
What do I love the most about real estate? It's a bit of a loaded question, but I'd say I love how dynamic it is. I'm somebody that just, I love stimulation. I love to be able to be doing a lot of things, and real estate really provides an opportunity outside of the obvious. We're helping people outside of, negotiating or, whatever the aspects of real estate, but just the fact that it's dynamic and it's not the same every day. So there's a consistency to it with respect to what you're doing, but how you're doing it and who you're doing it for changes every day. And probably the last thing is that after 12 years, I still feel like I don't know anything. As much as I know a lot, you constantly keep growing and learning. So I think that's what I'd say.
Well, I think the great thing about this is also, right, when I tell people often that we're not in the real estate business, we're in the people business. So as long as people keep surprising us and keep evolving,
that's right.
No matter how many apartments or townhomes or deals you construct, they will be very different and challenging and inspiring because of the people that we work with. So years ago, I was talking to a top producer, and he literally looked me in the eye and said, "I really hate people."
Wow.
No, it's funny because he was concerned about why he wasn't achieving what he wanted to achieve. And that was it right there.
Right.
You can't possibly dislike people.
Right.
And really enjoy this business.
Right.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
So you mentioned you started this conversation today by talking about failing forward. We said you've been in the business 12 years. What would you go back, what would you go back and tell yourself 10 years ago after a couple of years in the business?
Mm-hmm.
What would you go back and tell yourself, 4 or 5 years ago at your midway point?
That's a really good question. I think that, let me flash back 10 years. I probably would tell myself that trust transfers. What I mean by that is, starting out early in the business, I didn't really have the confidence to just go gangbusters within my sphere of influence. I come from the music industry. I had earned a ton of equity with people, working with artists, helping them with their craft, making records. There's a ton of trust there in that process. And I only focused on one part of it, was the studio and things that happen in the studio. And I'm like, how do I go back to person X? And we were just in the studio making a record and whatever else. And now I'm going to tell them I'm going to help them buy a house that's $500,000, $1 million, $3 million bucks. So I tell the old me or the younger me that trust transfers, that people love you. So whether you're in music, whether you're in insurance, whether you are a car mechanic, it doesn't matter. So I go back to my sphere of influence. So I wouldn't abandon the Truly leads I did. I have some of my most amazing clients to this day from there, but I wouldn't have been solely dependent on them. I would have trusted that people would trust that I would surround myself with the right people to get the job done, instead of feeling like I had to know it all.
That is, wow. That is so spot on. So many people that come from these other fields, right, where they're known to be an expert and respected in that field, they're always so concerned, right? I was an accountant, I was an attorney, now I'm a nobody. That's not true, right?
Right.
Transfers.
Right.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
And then for the 5-year mark,
let's talk about midway through it. You're getting some momentum.
Getting momentum. And that's interesting that literally at 5 years, I made a transition from one firm to another. I would say, I don't know how to frame it right, but I'll just say what it is and you can help fill in the blanks. I'd say slow down a bit. That was at the juncture. I tried to start a team about a year before that. And didn't do so great. And then I got over to the firm I just left and was more concerned with this kind of timer that I had set. Someone had wanted to join me. I mentored them from outside the firm, and I gave myself 90 days. And in a way to honor what I had told this individual, said, well, give me 90 days, I'm transitioning, and then you can join me. I would have told myself, don't do that. Get your feet planted, learn what you have to learn, get your legs up underneath you, and then once you're situated, then start to think about expanding and building on it. So I didn't take time to really set the foundation. So I had a new firm, which brought instability. I brought an individual into my immediate sphere, which brought instability because they required a ton of work and guidance. And then just personally, I can't even remember. I think there was some flux. So it was just too much shit going on, quite frankly. So I think that I would say 5 years ago, you got momentum. Just keep your head down, stay focused, build, get your foundation, and then start to build the house.
So I asked Tyler this question, and both of you have highly successful teams. You said, I tried to start a team. Give me the one quick tip here for looking back of efficiently and effectively. And I'm sure there's 10 things you could tell me, but give me one, max 2 about starting that team. What advice you would have?
No, for sure. I don't know if it's just something singular to me, but I'm a big person that believes that normally what your strength is also your Achilles heel. So you have to be careful. And I operate with really high EQ, empathy, intuition, all of that. So that's all great. But the downside of that is that sometimes you don't look at things for what they are. And there's a saying that when people show you who they are, believe them. So I've had a tendency not to believe people. I've had a tendency to think, oh, with me as your coach or you on my team, you can crush it. But I'm not processing that there's certain baseline things that they didn't demonstrate, that no matter how much coaching in the world, how much me loving on them in the world, it wasn't going to happen because they didn't have it in here to really do what was necessary for me to build on that. So I also learned about my strength of what I'm better at, not projecting onto someone what they can be. So that was a big challenge. And then also probably building a team out of order. You normally, in an ideal scenario in life, brings you all kind of challenges or what have you. But to best of your ability, if you can start with optimizing yourself. I got discouraged trying to hire an admin because I went 2, 3, and I just was like, this is chewing away at my time. I can't keep stop, start. And I said, fuck it. I'm just going to bang out. And then you run into someone and they're great. And you're like, okay, come on, join the club and go and go and go. And next thing you know, you have a team, but you have no hub. You have no admin. You have no command central. So I would say also go through the pain, find the admin, get anchored first, optimize me, and then add the pieces, because that's also going to respect the experience of the team members as they join.
It's funny, you said something early on. I say a lot when people ask me what's hiring the right people. It's such a talent and a skill set, right? I always say go in, it's like I need a buyer's agent. I need an assistant. It's almost you want to go into that meeting not wanting to like them, right? Because if you go into that meeting wanting to like them, you're going to miss on all the things and all the reasons that are screaming at you not to hire them. So if you go in there not wanting to like them, but it turns out differently, then you're going to really like them for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's fair. Right.
Interesting. Okay, so since you started talking about team, let's give a quick rapid fire to your 3 team members. Shane, Noel, and Sorrel. Give me what do you love most about each of them? And if there aren't, they probably aren't here, so be gentle.
No, I mean, I love them. I mean, the first thing I'd say I'll start collectively quickly, is that they hold me accountable. I will single-handedly say having, the 3 of them around me has made me a better leader. They are all confident. They are all capable in their own right of being team leads. And the fact that they were humble enough to join me and felt like there was value there has been amazing. What I love about them individually, Shane, I love his drive. His drive is unmatched. And he's a pretty charming fellow, and the accent doesn't hurt either. Sorrel is our world traveler. I love her. Without realizing it, she really has this global perspective. So a lot of things that when she talks, or she, it seeps in. You get a real kind of worldview. And she's also, our A-type detail. So I could go on one of my big visionary rants, and she can distill it down into 37 bullet points. I mean, so she's awesome in that regard. Mm-hmm. And Noel is, as you probably gathered, he's our king of sense of humor. He will always keep you laughing. And I also love, though, he has a very rational way of looking at things. So where I can get a little bit more, like I said, heavy empathy, he has a really good way of being able to just kind of separate the emotion and just look at things for what they are and process in a really intelligent way. So I think just all three of them, again, have made me better. And I'm really grateful that they've agreed to work with me.
It's funny. There we go. What's a great leadership quality? Allowing the people around you, to hold you accountable. You allow them to do that.
No, right? Absolutely.
You allow yourself to be vulnerable.
It's scary. It's absolutely scary.
No, that's not how we're doing it, and here's why.
Yeah.
That's really
it's been powerful, though. I've seen the growth, and it goes backward. It goes back the other way as well, because when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, then your teammates and your partners are vulnerable. They don't feel like they have to hide. They can say, I blew that, my bad. I'll get it on the next round. No one's trying to do anything but their best work, and knowing that, you live to fight another day. So, yeah.
So you mentioned the word growth in that last sentence. Good. I'll hop that into my next question. Biggest growth opportunities you see for yourself, the team, what you've learned about however personal growth, professional growth, Triplemint growth. I don't care which way you go here. What are you excited most about the next couple of years?
I think I'd have to tie it back into Triplemint and the reason that we're here versus where we were. I feel like the industry as a whole is really mutating and changing under our feet. And I think that to be a generalist, to just be someone that I can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think those days are over. I think to be able to hone in and add specific value. I love the value proposition of Triplemint. It's not just saying, hey, we can help you broker a deal. It's a unique way of using machine learning. We came from a place that was harnessing technology. The priority was just different of how it was harnessed. And so I think there's a huge opportunity as, we go into Brooklyn formally, and we go into, other places around the country. I think there will be a huge opportunity to really take what you guys have spent the last few years quietly working on and applying it across the country and really create a custom crafted marketplace. Because otherwise there really would be no value for what we do. So I think to be able to say, listen, I'm knowledgeable. I know I can give context to what you find on your own. We're not in a competition with finding things. That's not my job anymore. That's not my value proposition. My value proposition is helping you secure the property. What way can I do that? Obviously my skill set and things that I know, and giving you context to the market. And I have this amazing kind of tech behind me that will allow me to get you in front of places earlier, line up buyers for you before anyone knows they want to really buy, and conversely on the sell side. And then for the team, I think it's just being able to expand and follow their dreams. And for me to do a lot of what you've been doing, which is coaching and motivational speaking, down the line, and just inspiring people to do their best work.
While you were trying, I was going to say, it's funny how you ended with that. I was about to say, let's make this a little bit more personal for 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
Let's so people get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
What is inspiring you personally from a personal growth perspective the next couple of years?
Look, where we are in the world is in a very interesting intersection. And what inspires me, I have something called What Up Family. So I will be greeting all of you all the time, like, what up, family? And that's been a chorus that whether I'm at a basketball game with my son or I'm out somewhere, it's just a trademark. I feel like that we are all one big family, not to be hokey, and, siblings fight and people don't always get along and things happen. And I think that if we can get to a place of just humanity, and what inspires me is being able to be a voice in that. I'm always big on self-improvement. So, you know, you look in my Kindle app and I probably have 400 plus books. I love reading. I'm a voracious reader, always trying to grow, always trying to evolve. Hence us even being here, quite frankly. So I think that I'm personally motivated. I have 2 kids. I'm a father. I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. So they are my biggest motivation. And anyone out there that's a parent, belated Father's Day, happy Father's Day to everyone. You know that they're everything to you, right? Your whole mission in life is, number 1, to keep them safe. And number 2, to have them start further along than you did and give them the best opportunity to succeed. So from that standpoint, very personally, is my family, my kids. And then outward are just people in general, just wanting people to kind of lean into their higher self.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so now I'm going to ask one of the questions we get asked most as a real estate professional, but sometimes the most difficult to answer is, you're at a party and no one knows what you do for a living. And they say, hey, Aaron, what do you do for a living? What do you tell them?
I tell them that I help people find home. I don't tell them that I do real estate, because that doesn't mean shit. I say I help people find home, and they're like, is that real estate? I'm like, well, sometimes it can be a physical space or an emotional state. And so that ties in those 2 things where, yes, I am in that space of bringing people together and helping them find their sanctuary. But I'm also doing it emotionally. So there are times that it's not even about, you know, where someone lives or buying or selling. It's actually helping someone find home, wherever that is for them. And I think the way you frame it is, which I like, and I borrowed a week ago, which is either coach up or coach out. So there's kind of a degree of that as well. But yeah, the simple answer is that I help people find home.
You know what's great about that, and how it's so subtle, because I always tell people, you never say you never really want to tell people you're a real estate agent, right? Because they know 10 others. And so that's not a great trigger. And then you don't want to get too fancy that you're obnoxious, right? I've seen people use these fancy descriptions of people like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
This is, I help people find home. It literally caused me to pause and want to know more, right? You don't have to, when you explain what you do, you don't have to lay it all out for them in the first 10 seconds.
Right.
So that's such a subtle response, not obnoxious, and really wants me to continue to ask questions. That is awesome. That is, we have some great nuggets from today. Okay, here we go. Aaron, what are you great at?
What am I great at?
What are you great at? Don't think too hard.
Because I suck at so much other stuff, I would say I'm great at.
That's the next question. So what are you great at?
Oh, sorry. Okay. I think I'm great at mastering the moment. I think I'm really, really good at knowing what an exact moment calls for. That goes back to living so much life and in so many different experiences that something presents itself, even in a unique context, but I just feel I'm like, I know what we need to do in this moment. So I think that I'm arguably one of the best at mastering the moment.
Okay. Before I ask what you suck at, because I'll give you 10 seconds to think about that, I think I'm going to try and get to a handful of questions today. So if you want to throw them in the chat, otherwise I have 10 more questions to ask Aaron myself, and I will keep.
Please ask me some great questions, people, because you know Eric is going to light me up.
I'm being very gentle today. Very gentle.
This is day 1, right? You're not gonna. We'll wait till the second round.
What do you suck at?
Oh my God! All right, hold on. Let me.
No more than 2 things.
Here, no. Saying things succinctly. My team has been great, and they're all functional or rational thinkers. Surprisingly, I'm this big, creative thinker, and it takes me a lot of words to say what I want to say. And they're just like, you can just say that. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I could have just said that in 8 words, not 18. So I suck at brevity. What else? And getting in the weeds. Like I'm not, I can do admin, I can do board packages, I'm, meticulous, all that type of stuff. But I suck at being able to do some of that stuff quickly and efficiently. It's like, it's going to come with a huge time drain. So that's not my jam, but talking to people, being in the moment, grand opening, grand closing, that's my jam.
Shelly, you and Shelly are going to have private lessons on that. She just popped up there in the chat, I saw.
Right.
Okay, David wants a music biz story. Hold on, I'm not done yet, David. Relax. This is my show.
David, I work with, in the space I work in, discretion is key. It's really critical that you don't betray the trust of those that you've worked with in very private environments. So I'll have to do those one-on-one.
Well, we can go nameless. Well, if you have a good one, maybe.
But that's not any fun if you don't really know who it is. I mean. Okay,
you're right. Let's.
I don't know, but let's stay on your path. Let me think about that. Let me see if there's something I can share.
Right, think about that. Biggest aha your first week, right? I mean, you did a lot of due diligence, and I ask people this all the time, right? I mean, expectations are everything. What was the aha your first week?
It's been a lot. I think that with respect to Tripleman or just in general, just with the change?
You transitioned, right, after 5 years. However, I don't want to define the aha. What was you went home one night, whether it was Wednesday night and Thursday night, you looked at your wife and you were like, wow. Whatever that wow moment was, it doesn't have to be accumulated, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it was a couple things. There was a collective aha from the team that, transition is hard, I think given the backdrop and all that. So, again, I'm great at I was honest. I said, look, it's going to be a challenge. We're going to have to get acclimated and all that. But of course, I'm always like, we can fucking do this. And we are, and it's great. So that's one piece. But the aha was just like, wow, there's really some shit under the hood over here. You never, and I think I spoke to that in my introduction, that when you're in an environment, you don't really know what the perception is outside. Not that you should be concerned with it at all. You're doing your thing. You're doing great work. So who cares? But there's something to be said for, particularly if you're at a smaller firm, and there's all these bigger firms and they dominate press and they take up a lot of space. You don't really know maybe where you sit. And it was a really cool, like, okay, we got some shit over here, it's exciting. So, there's some processes and some ease of efficiency, if you will, that we knew we were trading off. And I think anybody would expect that at a bigger firm. But to really get kind of the personalization, like for us to really feel what you talked about. It's one thing to be told you're going to be spoiled. Like we're going to be really, hands-on, and we're going to make sure that you guys feel that we're present. It's not just like, hey, great. Okay. We got you, come over. Okay, great. You decide to come over. Done. Like yesterday, Monica reaching out, hey, or over the weekend. And, it's just that feeling of being wrapped in a hug. That's something that we always say we want to do with our clients. And to have felt that was a pretty cool aha moment, to be like, yeah, this was the right choice. This feels good.
There's actually a very specific question from Luis, which is interesting. So thank you for sharing that, Luis. I'm going to ask it. One of the challenges, right, of personality styles, we talk about DISC a lot at this company, right? DIS and C, and relating to styles that may cause us more friction in particular. How do you go from, you are a storyteller. How do you go, how have you adjusted and adapted to be storyteller versus bottom line? Right, because you're going to have some clients that are very much, right?
Yeah.
I don't need all that.
Right.
I need to know how fast and how much.
Right.
What have you done from a professional development perspective or a growth perspective to get better at that?
I think it's really important that, we always talk about this in general, I think, is being an active listener. And listening isn't just listening to what someone's saying. It's paying attention to, how long their email is to you. If you're meeting with them in person, their body language, all of these things, these cues that start to shape. And I think that it starts with being self-aware. If you care to be great and thoughtful and really not just saying it, but you really want to serve your client, you're going to pay attention to who's on the other side of the email or on the other side of the call or, other side of the desk. So what leads to that is, yeah, I may want to say a bunch of stuff. And like I said, I have a hard time. I don't have a hard time when I'm dealing with my finance guys that are just, you know, and I won't say they're my most fun clients to work with, because there's something to be said for working with your tribe, if you will. But I appreciate and respect their perspective. And I can appreciate that at the end of the day, this is less emotional. I just need to know A, B, and C. And sometimes it's actually easier because there's a lot of element of, you know, that's uncertainty, if you will. When you hear emotional roller coaster, that's out the window. So I've just learned to adapt, to just basically listen and pay attention. So I always talk about mirroring. So if someone sends me a one-line email, I'm not sending them 36-line paragraph back. Like you just, you know, so you learn to kind of honor what you're given and also just mirroring their urgency or, you know, level of information.
Big final thought here, because I'm sure you've talked about this with your team, and obviously Molly's talking about it with our extended team and family. You know, opening up today, give us some thoughts on how you're approaching it. Clients, I'm sure, peppering you with questions on the buy and sell side. Just give us, you know, some general macro thoughts that you've talked about with your team, and what you want to share with the rest of the people listening today about, you know, phase 2 opening up today.
I mean, I don't think I need to belabor the point of safety protocols. I think that's been drummed into us to make sure that we follow that. Obviously, that's important, clearly, number one. I think I want to operate from a place of us taking a moment to be still and be grateful. This last 3 months has really been, it's been something else. You know, just being able to sit back and think and process. It's a big part of what's led us here is, you know, inflection. So I think that as we go out all together as a team and a family, is to take a moment and be grateful for what we do. Be grateful that something that was taken from us for 3 months and we had to sit down for 90 days. Someone else said, you need to sit down. And we all agreed that we needed to sit down. But now it's like we get to jump back out. Don't just jump back out and be with frenetic energy and scrambling and, oh my God, I got to find this, I got to find that. Be still and take your time, deep breaths, and say, wow, this is awesome. I do something I love. I'm so excited. I get an opportunity again. I will never, ever not cherish this, and go forth with that type of energy. And I think every client that we interact with will receive that, and they'll feel that emanate from us. And I think it'll be really powerful.
Wow. We're going to end on that. Team carte blanche. Aaron sent me an email last night. He's like, we're not the carte blanche team. We're team carte blanche.
That's correct. Team is first.
I stand corrected, and thank you for correcting me. And thank you, Aaron, for being who you are, joining our family. I want to also thank your team members very much so, because I know their buy-in was extremely important to you, and you care about them immensely. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, those are my partners. And I want to put this out here. We didn't before. We are also active learners. So we're excited to learn from all of you. This isn't a one-way street. Obviously, my phone is always open, text, call, Slack. But we're also really excited about learning, you know, looking forward to learning from you guys as well. Can I do one quick plug of what each team member kind of focuses on?
Do it.
So Noel is heavy in new dev. So all our new development people, make sure you tap him. You guys can be great resource for each other. He's Brooklyn all day, every day. You know, Shane has been doing the balance between investment sales, really getting heavy into multifamily, also has a bedrock of rentals, so an expert there. Sorrel, outside of being on the listing side, occasionally is our senior buyer's agent. And she's not boxed into that, but she is a monster with buyers and education and explaining the process and all that. So if any of you that are transitioning and really trying to understand what it is to work with buyers or just need a sounding board, she's an amazing resource.
Yeah, Molly gave me feedback after the one of the role plays last week that Sorrel popped into, and Molly was like, Sorrel's a beast in a great way.
Yeah. No,
I really want to thank your entire team for being so open and contributing so much your first week. Everyone, we had over 70 people today. I really appreciate you taking.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you
for phase 2 on Monday, second day of summer. So everybody stay safe. Most importantly, Aaron, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. Love you guys.
Everybody be well.